Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our SATAX meeting. I hereby call the State Accommodation Tax Committee meeting of November 15th, 2023 to order. I don't know, Petra or Dorota, are you doing the roll call or? Oh, there you go. Petra, please.
Dr. Heidensfelder?
Here.
Mr. Warren? Here. Mr. Wall? Here. Mr. Ellis? Here. Ms. Rush? Here. Mr. Wilson? Ms. Anderson? Here. Mr. Simler? Yes.
Okay. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Michael Heidingsfelder. I'm on the town council since early this year, and I took over the responsibility as the master of ceremony for this meeting, I was told, since I took over the role of Mayor Pro Tem from John Moffat when he left us earlier or late in October. Okay, let's move on in the agenda. So number 3, approval of meeting minutes. Second. Okay. Any discussion, any concerns, any changes, typos, anything that you found? Yeah.
We sort of combined, the only thing I could give you is we sort of combined our original ad spend together with them. And we wanted to do it for 2 months now. In the first 2 months, for every dollar of digital marketing, really motivating. You can't hear me? Sorry.
Live stream.
Okay.
So whenever you speak, if you, or either leave your microphone on, so the indication light is green, or just turn it on when you want to say something, so that people that might be online or might want to listen to the meeting later on can really hear what you're saying. Please. Yes.
Oh, okay. So, we do have, I think, $75,000 in SATAX funding for digital marketing campaigns that Edens and Ellen have combined. That's primarily Google ads and also YouTube. YouTube now is becoming quite strong and launching. And for the first 2 months, it's early, but for the first 2 months, for every dollar of ad spend, we've gotten $6.42 in room revenue. And then you use the multiplier of 1.5 times that for the village, and it looks like it's going to be really successful. We'll slow down the spend in December because it's just a really slow booking time, but then we'll elevate it. And
Don, the numbers that you gave for every dollar, you got $6 plus. Is that because you were able to track the dollars that were spent to the ad that was on Google? Did they reference it in some way so that you were sure that it was something that you had driven by that?
Yeah, so we push everything through the andln.com site, and the Book Now button on that goes to Marriott.com, and Marriott gives us the numbers. So it's a definite booking that we're getting off of. We were delighted on the initial return.
That is actually
Really fantastic.
There's specific
Incredible.
money, though, that was allocated to the social media, which was the influencer marketing specifically, which I think was pretty substantial.
Yeah, I can't give you the results of that, but I know that,
I spoke to
Open
Dorota
was-
about that. I would also be very interested in seeing what actually happened. I mean, after all the money spent.
And I will ask them, I haven't gotten anything, but I will ask to if there's any results to date, and for sure for April meeting, I will make sure that they have a presentation, as there wasn't a deadline like Mr. Roger
Well,
mentioned.
maybe-
But I'll ask for some maybe interim data.
Yeah, maybe you can send, or
like
they
via
can send
email.
something around, because, if it's successful, then maybe there wants to be some copycats here. And also, as it relates to the social media, I mean, that seems to be interesting to be shared with others and shouldn't wait until April.
Yeah, I think the direct result from something like Google is probably easier to measure, and I wouldn't probably challenge that at all. But what the influencers did and how they generated, I think that's going to be a lot more challenging to measure. But those numbers you got were really good.
You're really impressed.
Yeah,
That's really good. And for the influencers, usually you look at the clicks. So that's actually a good indication.
well, my ad people, my marketing people would like me to do that, but I can't always tie the clicks to the the money in the bank. So that's the challenge of it.
Okay, so we have motion. Any additional questions, concerns, or can we move on to the vote? Okay, can we please approve or disapprove the meeting minutes? Can I have a vote?
Are you calling a vote? Yes, aye.
Aye? Yeah? Okay. Good. So meeting minutes approved. We have no old business for our meeting today. We only have a new business, November application for fiscal year 2023-24. We have 2 application sheets to discuss and then to vote on. Dorota, are you taking the lead here, or?
Were you brought up to speed on why we even have this meeting? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I went back to meeting minutes of 2019, so.
Assumed you did. Huh? This is the surplus meeting, yeah. I'm surprised that I'm proud of us that we didn't take all of it and put it somewhere.
We have to spend it, no
We
worries.
have to spend
We have
it.
to spend it. There's a window. But we can roll it over, Dorota, for 2 years, I believe, right?
Yes, so we have 2 years, but we roll last year to this year and this one, so it just comes and goes like this. But given everything the same, in April, we'll have probably about 3 million to spend for next year.
Is this the first time we wouldn't have spent in the last few years, going back to 1918? Would this be the first year we haven't spent everything in the 2-year period that we were allowed to?
Yeah, well, so the COVID year was the first year that actually we got after COVID, 2020. So that's where we got in surplus, but we were very conservative with the committee, and the council were very conservative approving the application. So that will be pretty much, yes, the first year, two-year period that we haven't spent the money.
So we're not in a situation where if we don't, there's no money that we have to spend by April 1st of
No,
next
because
year.
we're gonna roll it,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Well, but then probably in
But
25.
that's, looking at 25, then we could, if we leave this like this, we've got 700 going to next year, plus probably another $1 million to $1.5 million that'll come in. So we could be at over $2 million, $2.2 million that we have to look at, so I don't want you getting too excited about it, Stephanie.
You already see it. No, we already.
I know your eyes are gonna light up, and the police, we might have a full police department by the time we get done.
No, not with that money, maybe with a little portion of it, but there is also other things that we can consider. Money will definitely not go to waste, that's for sure. But that's not the focus for today, so we have 2 applications. I don't know.
And Ellen, we have Meredith. Yes, so you're welcome to the stand. Okay. Thank you.
And just before we do that, I did notice there was an error on this sheet, basically. So the distribution, or the awarded amounts for,
It's one cell off.
okay, yeah.
If you take the one on the top and move them all down, it's one cell off.
Okay, good.
What's the correction?
All the numbers are wrong. Oh. Basically. I think you take the awarded amounts and then move them all down one cell.
Actually, I should have taken that line out. That's probably why the cell got skewed.
Ready? Okay. So my name is Meredith Clintworth. I'm the general manager at the Andel Inn, and we are requesting additional funds for our Google ad campaign of $40,000. To briefly describe the project, we are currently running a productive digital ad campaign, Google, to increase overnight visitors to Kiowa Island. The current campaign is for $75,000 and runs through June of 2024. We have detailed heat maps showing where visitors to the Freshfield Village come from, known source markets for drive and fly. We will increase ad spend on the largest, most productive markets like New York City and increase our geographical coverage as well, and are asking for an additional $40K. The current campaign brings in $6.42 of additional revenue for every ad dollar spent. Given the business case, that generates 1.5 times the room, 1.5 times room revenue and total village retail spend. We are generating $45K a month in overnight visitor spend a month. Given those booking ratios, the additional $40K over the 6-month period will yield an additional $256,000 in overnight visitor spend to Kiowa Island. Any questions? So that's several things. Don kind of briefly mentioned it, but that's going to be digital display based on key search terms, as well as retargeting, which is, and also Google Ads on YouTube as well. B-roll, yes. Any other questions? Thank you.
Then Liz is next, right? Liz?
Hello, my name is Liz King. I'm the Director of Recreation for the Kiowa Island Golf Resort. What our department works hard on doing is holiday programming, summer programming, events that will draw folks to Kiowa Island throughout the year. Next week alone for the Thanksgiving and the kickoff to Christmas, we have 12 different public complimentary programs that we're offering throughout the island to attract guests to spend their holiday week with us. Everything from a turkey trot on the beach on Thanksgiving morning, where we historically attract about 900 folks, to a festival Thanksgiving evening in the park. We'll do things like bonfires and s'mores, the holiday music bingo. On the day after Thanksgiving, we have a Santa parade led by the Johns Island Fire Department and 12 roaming elves. We will do Rick Hubbard's kazoo band in the park, where we have Disney grade snowmakers this year. We have Holiday Farm Snuggles, which is another fun name for our petting zoo that's coming to the park. And we'll have family photos in Santa's sleigh, story time with Santa, so tons and tons of activities for the families to do. 2 weeks after that, we have the Kiowa Island Marathon, which I hope everyone is fully booked on this island. We have been sold out now for the marathon for about almost a month, and we will only allow folks to register if they can provide proof of accommodations on the island. So even though folks may be dropping out, if they can get accommodations on the island, we will continue to book their race registration in an effort to promote tourism on the island and guarantee overnight guests. We have also expanded our weekend activities around the marathon to include events on Thursday night. Friday morning, we have a complimentary shakeout run starting at Night Heron Park at 9 o'clock in the morning. We'll do yoga, story time with Santa all day long. And then in the evening, we have a glow run with 500 people already sold out on the front beach. So what we're trying to do is not just have it a one-day event, but a several-day-long event to, again, increase room nights during a traditionally very slow time of the year. 3 weeks after that, we kick off Christmas week and New Year's Eve, where we have our festival in the park, fireworks both at the park, on the sanctuary beach. And then the next day, we do our our 5K on the beach with our polar plunge. So in the next 6 weeks, we are very, very busy creating activities in order to boost tourism on the islands for a traditionally slower period of time. We are asking for $200,000 in our ATAX application to promote the marketing of these events and Kiawah Island in general, to do what ATAX is meant to do, promote tourism and room nights on the island.
Can you turn on, Don? Don.
So, no. And we couldn't handle it. So we do park about 800 cars or so at the fields right by Freshfields. So those are folks that are coming, staying on Seabrook Island, Johns Island, perhaps even locals in the area. So what happens is once the race is closed so that we can't handle more folks, the only people we will allow in are the folks that prove that they have overnight accommodations. Again, specifically because we want to promote room nights on the island. It is absolutely wherever. So we definitely will take your guests, VRBO, Acre Ellis, everyone, as long as they can produce accommodation receipt, we will take them.
And when you say is there a number that you're sort of limited to, number of runners?
We're not limited to the number of people I can register. What my goal is to have a certain number of people at the starting line. We know that we can't handle more than that at the starting line. The island is limited. We know that we work within a community that we want to be sensitive to our runners. I mean, I'd love to take 10,000 people, but we live on Kiawah and we want to be respectful to the property owners. So we're keeping a number that works for everyone.
What's that number? How many races?
So at the starting line, my target this year is 4,300 people. Last year we had a little more than that. It was a little too many. I have decreased it.
The no-show rate, Liz?
So we have about 600 people that defer their race registration. So if they reserve for this year, and they decide they've gotten pregnant, haven't trained hard enough for whatever reason, we'll allow them to defer their race registration for 1 year. Many races don't do that. We have about 600 people that do that, and then we have additional about 600 that are no-shows. So we're working with that number.
Who does the race for you? Is it a third party?
It is me. It is me.
A lot of work.
Yes. I have a time.
But could you do another one?
So we have a timing company. We hire Go Race Productions out of Charleston who does the timing. Every other aspect is done by our recreation team. So there is no outside entity that puts this together. The volunteer coordinators, finish line, everything is done by our staff.
It's really one of the best events in terms of getting room nights. And so I just wonder, do you think that there's another time of year that you would want to do another one or no?
Honestly, for the Kiawah community, I would think
No.
that that's probably,
No, and I think it's just the fact that we know when our seasons are. We know when, and so then it's a combination of, is it weather conducive to a race, and is it conducive to what our needs are for the room nights? We probably aren't going to do one in the first part of December and doing one in the first part of January. We don't know if there's a market for it, but I agree with you. If we could have a race every weekend, we'd have, in the off-season, we'd be great. The town then would probably
I'd
be
be
tired of us, but,
I'd have to put a no urination sign on my house, and I live on Governors. So,
yeah, that's,
That the sticking point is just too much.
sticking point is a good phrase to describe it. Yeah, we've had a comment. I actually put it on Facebook, picture of the guy. It happens. It's all right. It's funny. I had a question about the other activities. Are any of the activities you described new activities you haven't done before?
So for next week, this turkey scavenger hunt is ongoing for years. Laser tag, family laser tag we did it this summer, new for this Thanksgiving, so we've never done it Thanksgiving. Bonfire and s'mores we've done consistently, turkey trot consistently, sand sculpting contest, festival in the park, Santa parade. Those are all year on year Rick Hubbard Kazoo Band, we usually did that on Sunday or Saturday evenings, and we realized that by that point, a lot of people are heading home, so we've changed that date. Holiday Farm Snuggles is brand new. Family Photos in Santa's Sleigh is brand new. Music Bingo we did that last winter. And then Story Time with Santa, we did that last winter as well. So 2 new programs for this next week.
You're requesting for marketing and advertising for this holiday season?
So it is for this next fiscal year. So it's not just for the holiday season, no, because most of that is already done, yes.
Okay, that's fine.
But I wanted you to understand what we try to do to help promote tourism, but the money's going towards the advertising of it.
Do you have to be staying on Kiowa to get through the gate to those activities? How would guests or people be able to get through the gate to attend all of that?
So what happens is we put in SATAX special events permits for these, and they ask us how many gate passes will be needed. So for complimentary events like this, they are allowed through the gate. For those activities that require reservations, when they make a reservation, they get a confirmation letter that they need to show to the gate. The only 2 open events like this that we do that are not open to outside guests are the 4th of July Festival and Fireworks at Night Heron Park, and the festival and fireworks for New Year's Eve at the park. And what I do for Andel Inn is I myself make the gate passes, get them approved by Kika, deliver them to your front desk so your guests can come to those events.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I was promoting it correctly. If I'm like, oh, they have a
Yep.
then I tell the wrong person. I just
To make sure we would know what we can send people to and can't.
Yep, love to have them.
okay.
Thank you all.
Any questions to both projects that comes to mind? No? Dorota, are we now moving forward with the vote, I assume? Okay, so you should all have your voting sheet, hopefully. Your pack. Looks like this, I would think. Well, you can probably take
And I don't think we have to remind you all, but just as a reminder, you know that you wouldn't vote for Andel Lynn projects, of course, which stands for public record. And then, of course, Roger will also abstain from voting from the resort property or project.
that you don't put a bigger number.
Way to be prepared.
So while Dorota is voting the counts, or the ballots, or whatever you call that, since I'm new to this and I'm still working myself into this, as I said, I read through the last 5 years of very interesting meeting minutes. I spoke to Stephanie, I spoke to Dorota, I also spoke to John Moffett. But there's one thing that I kind of not sure exactly why that is, also because we had some commentary from community members. Short-term rentals are the biggest contributor to our SATAX budget, right? 70, 80%, I think it is, of the money that we can spend here comes from short-term rental. Now, a big portion, of course, comes through the resort because you're the biggest short-term rental management company, I think is the right word, right? But then somewhere you come in and some others come in. What could be programs that we can think of specifically tailored for short-term rental? Because I think it's a big contributor, it's a big element of our economy. So how could we come up and who would lead it to have specific programs we can fund with SATAX money to boost our short-term rentals, no matter if it's resort managed or Eker Alice managed or Vacasa or VRBO or whatever these companies are. So have there ever been discussions? I was told no, but I wanted to make sure. But what could be ideas that we then bring forward in April to also support that particular area of tourism? I was not expecting an instant answer, but I mean, just as a thought. So. Well, because I think, isn't that also a significant contributor to our economy if people come to the island, rent a house or a condo, spend money in restaurants and in shops and golf courses, etc.
My initial reaction is, I think the way it's broken down, anybody who's in short-term rentals who would want to come here and ask for money to promote their business would have an equal opportunity to anybody else sitting here. And we have, one of the reasons we haven't done that is we really haven't had anybody from the other rental companies come to this and ask for that. And when we come looking for the, obviously the combined hotel and the rental program because we've got a full advertising market for it. And obviously Don comes with the hotel, but I don't think you guys have ever come and tried to get money for your organization to do it.
No, we have not. That was not my understanding of the purpose of this. And the reason I continue to support the resort is all that you do to bring people to the island. And obviously I have no objection to what Don does in trying to promote everything in Freshfields, but obviously I'm not opposed to making a presentation because we do have 267 rentals on Kiowa and the second largest rental company. But quite frankly, I never thought about it because I did not know that that was the purpose of this.
I would not necessarily see a problem. I mean, you have to come up with a suitable program. I don't think that I would encourage individual homeowners to come because that makes that very complex. But we have a few of those, short-term rental management companies like you are. We have what is that name? EFDM, I think, is another one, right? Yeah. So we have a few of those. Those could probably be, the right, part of our community to spend that money, effectively for short-term rentals.
I think if programming was suggested that benefited everybody, I think that would be fine to present it. But I think the stuff that we've voted on over the past few years that I've been a member does benefit both short-term as well as the hotel as well as the resort. I was surprised that, because I was at the town council meeting where a homeowner said something to the effect that I pay the taxes, I rent my home, and I'm not represented on the committee. And you mentioned, well, we've got the Ellis Acres on it, and she said, well, that doesn't represent me. And I thought,
well, that's a different
well, that's
topic,
a little,
so.
yeah. I'm just saying it was odd to sort of hear that, but I think that and I didn't get to talk to her afterwards, but I just want to sort of stress the fact that all the activities that are funded by the committee benefits.
No, the reason why I bring this up is also, I mean, there's absolutely no question that what I've seen at least, no matter what you guys have been doing and are doing right now, all of this contributes to not one specific, entity, right? What Freshfields is doing, or what Endel Inn is doing, or what you guys are doing, I mean, this is all, brings attention, brings, people to the island. I just thought more about this topic over the last couple of weeks because I also have started to rent, homes, and I realized that this is actually a really different market, right? I mean, a different way of approaching, your vacation and your thought process about where to go. So that's why I thought maybe it would be worth to look at this and say maybe there is a segment that we haven't really penetrated as much as others that would go into a hotel, or maybe there's more that we can do to also boost that part of our economy.
I'll certainly think about that. Selfishly, all the advertising we've done in the past has been to drive business to us, but I certainly recognize that our people are playing golf, eating at restaurants, and going to the bars, and so on and so forth. So, we'll see what else we can do that might be collectively good for everyone.
Roger, are you the largest home rental renter?
And we've got about 410 villas and homes right now. And what we're seeing, frankly, is, and I don't know if you guys are seeing the same thing, but during the last 3 years, with the big turnover in a number of villas, number of homes, and so forth, that mix is starting to change too. We were probably back in 2019, maybe 18, I can't remember exactly, but we were over 500 units at that time. And in this transition through COVID, everything, we've gone down to this 410, and many of the people who bought, who were renting, who that home was being rented by the previous owner, they've decided not to. Either they've decided to not go through us, but do their own individual thing, or they've just decided they don't want to rent. So I think that, and Stephen, I don't know if you're experiencing the same thing, and maybe it's not the same, it's because we got the largest impact on it. But I think that market for us has changed a little bit during this last 3 years, during the COVID time, and then the run-up after COVID.
Yeah, that's fairly accurate. You know, after COVID, a lot of people stopped renting, and you know, everything you're saying is exactly right. And even our owner occupancy now is actually much greater. It's up 7% this year than it was last year. And over Christmas, in our meeting we just had Tuesday, our owner occupancy this Christmas is up 18% over what it was last year. So it's
So the outgrowth of that is, in terms of the companies that have had positions in the market, those positions then have been reduced, and it's gone to a much more individualized, people doing their own thing, whether they're going through themselves or VRBO, those kind of situations. That's on the rise, which then, when you start talking about, and I think that the idea to have other people who, in companies who want to do something like this has validity, but I can't, it's going to make this process more difficult because there are so many of them. And then you'll get individuals who will come in and say, well, you're willing to give it to a company. I'd like X amount of dollars for my advertising for the year. And if they can demonstrate that they're bringing room nights here, that's what we all want. But it would complicate it. But that's not a reason not to do it.
I think there's also the additional factor that when I look at, you know, the performance from a town's point of view of all these management companies, and that means, for example, the number of violations or citations that have been given to you know, rental properties, those companies that are actually really here from the island perform the best. So for you, for example, your renters have the least amount of, by far, the least amount of citations that we have.
That wasn't the way it was initially, but
It
we learned our lesson.
No.
So we've worked hard at
it. It has come down substantially. And actually the best performing management companies, we just talked about this yesterday in the retreat, when I shared the numbers that I computed, is that the local short-term rental companies have the best ratio, means the best, you could say best behaving renters, but I think it really comes from the fact that they have the best informed renters, so that the renters knows, okay, what is allowed and what is not allowed. Parking is a big issue, noise is an issue, right? So I think something around, you know, helping the short-term rental companies that are really doing a good job would we.
I would encourage you, since you have a significant change in your leadership over the past few years, since we had the discussion, we went through the whole discussion about short-term rentals, all the problems we had, all the rules were made, I would ask you to consider to sit back down with the companies that are here to talk the status of it, what your goals continue to be, and what we think could happen to perhaps enhance what could happen, because we really haven't talked about it. And there have been some things that have worked and some things that haven't. So I would encourage that to happen.
Is there a way to track, like, lodging, you've got a way of tracking conversion. You know, you take a click and then you get it onto the website and then you figure out if they book. Do you have something similar to that for your your channels?
From the marketing and conversion ratio on our.
Can you track an ad dollar to booking?
It's kind of difficult for what we do. Yeah, our bookings now are about 75, actually 70, close to 78% organic, where they come directly to our site, comparative to 10 years ago, we were just getting up and going when it was only about 25%. So we're trying to get that number over 80%, and we're getting pretty close. But we're constantly trying new things, and we can track. When we do an email blast out, we can certainly track how many people are using certain promotion codes and so on and so forth. But if we're just doing Google AdWords and so forth, it's harder to track that from a dollar-on-dollar spend.
Benefit of, Don, to be part of Marriott, they do this all for you. So, okay, but maybe something to think about going forward to April. That could maybe be a smart idea to help that part of the economy as well. Okay, good. Any citizens' comments?
I have the results.
Oh,
So
I'm
the
sorry.
members' recommendation is to fully fund both applications. And that will go to Ways and Means and Town Council. Thank you.
That would be then December 5.
December, yeah.
December 5.
Yeah.
December 5th.
They're both,
Oh, no, end of June. The money is until end of June.
and this is going to December 5th, because I believe Ways and Means is having their meeting before council, so it's all going to be on
Yes,
December 5th.
that's what I meant. So we have Ways and Means and Town Council on the same
Same
day,
day,
which is
correct.
December 5th,
Correct.
for the final approval of those funds. Okay? Very good. Citizens' comments? Oh, okay, then
Motion to adjourn.